Hi, it's Besta and Steve. We're a married couple living in Lisbon, Portugal. This week, we're going to tell you more about ourselves and what we do here in Portugal.
Thanks for watching week 12.
So we love living here in Lisbon, Portugal. I am officially retired, although I'm not really retired, but in order to get our D7 visa to come here, I officially retired. And I'm still working part-time and doing a lot of things. And of course, all the stuff we're doing keeps me busy.
Yeah, we're running somewhere almost every day to go see the sites. And while he's semi-retired, I am doing freelance work. I was a journalist for a long time. I worked in public relations for a long time after that. And now I'm doing freelance writing for a couple of different websites and some different magazines.
So it's really great. If you have any ideas for freelance stories or connections for Steve, of course, let us know.
Yeah.
Steve, you're also a big gym guy. I guess I am too. We both go to the gym every day.
Yeah, I mean, I was, and I know you can relate to this too. I was that skinny kid in high school and through college. Eventually, I finally discovered that, I can, do something to make myself feel better and more proud of my looks and whatever. So I have been lifting since like 2004. So one of the big things for us when we moved to Portugal was to find a neighborhood that had a gym nearby that we both could use and enjoy. And luckily we did. It's a 5-minute walk from here?
Yeah, if that. And actually, we did like some other neighborhoods, but we couldn't find good gyms there. And we were like, okay, well, we can't be here. I know that's not uncommon for a lot of people and a lot of gay men, especially, I think.
Yeah.
So finding the gym was really important. We love our gym right here in Alvalade. And there are actually 3 gyms in our neighborhood, maybe about to be a 4th, I think. So we love that. You and I both trained our whole lives as bodybuilders, that sort of bodybuilding style of training, which I love. I also started about 15 years ago, I started studying martial arts. And so now that I'm older and my goals are less about getting big and more about being mobile and being open and stretching and moving, I'm just sort of maintaining my health. So what I'm doing is 1 day of gym lifting and 1 day of martial arts training. And I still am taking private lessons back in the States with my martial arts instructor back in Orlando.
Yeah, so now I know I have you as my bouncer because he is martial arts ready. And
don't come at me. I've got moves.
And my plan is to add size. I'm still kind of like a very amateur bodybuilder trying to get bigger and stronger. But, I'm also not in my 20s anymore. So I'm trying to also focus on overall health and stretching and all the things in order to stay mobile. And I think the walking we do around Lisbon and around all of Portugal has been a really big benefit for us only 2.5 months in.
Yeah, one of my strategies for staying young and mobile and healthy is to go up all those hills, take all those steps that you do when you walk all over Lisbon. I'm very excited about that. Mm-hmm. By the way, Steve is very strong. There was a day recently where you were bench pressing some ridiculously high number, and all the trainers were all standing around watching like, wow. What was the number?
It was 170 kilo, which is like 365, I think, somewhere around there. I don't remember the math.
Another boring day in the gym, lifting 365 on the bench press. Anyway, also, I love Star Wars. You love Star Trek. So we both like both, but that's our favorites.
Yeah, I really do love Star Trek. Obviously.
Whoa, what is this? Now, we just talked about the gym. Now you're having to show off your muscles? This is actually a Star Wars shirt?
No, this is a Star Trek shirt.
So excuse me.
You should know better.
Well, if you're going to wear a tank top, I want to wear a tank top. So there you go. I'm going to wear my Beast tank if you're going to wear your Star Trek tank. Anyway, yeah. So I love Star Wars. I have Mando and Grogu always right here next to me. My favorite Star Wars, by the way, is Star Wars Rebels, which is one of the animated series. I think the Star Wars animated series are incredible. The Darth Maul Shadow Lord series was just out as incredible. My favorite is Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels, and I actually have Kanan on my arm. That's my Star Wars tattoo. Now, why do you love Star Trek?
I used to watch it when I was a kid with my dad. Not only the original series when it was in syndication, but when The Next Generation came out, I was starting to be old enough to go out and do things, and I would come home. My curfew was 11 o'clock. And that just happened to be when Star Trek The Next Generation would come on in syndication after the news. So my dad and I would watch it together. And I've loved it ever since. And my favorite Star Trek series is Star Trek Voyager. I love me some Captain Janeway and that whole crew. But I like all of the Star Trek stuff. And most recently, the Cerritos was on Star Trek Lower Decks, which is an animated show on Paramount Plus that just kind of wrapped up recently. So that was a lot of fun. And we've been able to kind of teach each other about our favorite sci-fi.
Yeah, so you've watched some Bad Batch and Rebels with me, and we watched some movies. And of course, I do love Star Trek as well. I love Voyager. That was a series that I fell in love with. And we actually recently watched the whole 7 seasons. It was really great to watch that. I loved that.
We used that kind of as a way to pass time as we were waiting for the visa process to get done. So we would watch an episode here or there in the evenings after dinner. And it was a lot of fun. And the good thing is that we know enough about the series that I can watch a Star Wars thing and then ask you, what is this? Who are these people? Where does this take place? And you do the same thing when we watch New Trek.
Yeah, I always have questions about that. Who is that? And why is that happening? And what about who are the Klingons? Whatever. So we help each other out with that. So that's probably enough showing muscles here. Let's go back to our regular shirts. Okay, so we love exploring our new home of Lisbon and all of Portugal. Really, we, as often as possible, we go out and explore.
We remind ourselves every once in a while that we're extremely fortunate and we live in this amazing country and amazing city now. So we'll look at each other and say, hey, I have some free time this afternoon. Let's go to these many things on a list we have that we want to check out.
Or just go wander around to places that we already love. Yeah. And of course, I love all the pastries, the pastel de natas, of course. There's all kinds of wonderful pastries and croissants, and the food is wonderful. And we're going to be talking about food here on another episode coming up soon. So we're enjoying eating here.
Yeah, we get asked a lot about traditional Portuguese food, and we're studying and we're learning. Baby steps for us. And while we do stop for pastries all the time, I always stop and get the little coffees, which is interesting because I'm used to the massive Starbucks big old coffees, which they have that here as well. But the small pastries, the coffees are much smaller and they're like little espresso shots.
It's basically called a bica, right? And you have a bica and the croissant is your morning breakfast, and off you go, your pequeno almoço, and off you go with your day.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So you have a new blog on Substack.
I do. I've really been enjoying sharing kind of like my thoughts about the places we've been featuring in some of our videos. And the most recent one I wrote is about the Castelo de Óbidos. I always get the B and the D mixed up, which we talked about a few episodes ago. And it's just this really cool medieval castle. And so I take the time to kind of share some photos, and we'll talk about what it feels like to be in these places. It's really kind of a fun creative outlet for me. And you also do a blog.
I do. I have a blog that's called the Call Me Beast. And that my Beast blog, and that's on my website at timhinton.com. And also I do a video series on our YouTube channel that you can find right here, probably where you're watching this, where I do still doing interviews, putting them out as podcasts and as videos here on YouTube. And I love talking about things like improving your life, moving into midlife time and how you're spending that, those changes, anything that I think is interesting. And I'm really proud of the conversations that I'm sharing about all that. By the way, you have a wonderful podcast called Phantom History. So if you're into spooky, paranormal, ghost stuff, and you like history, you can find that at bestaandsteve.com.
Yeah, and it's I haven't done a whole lot since we've been here in Portugal. I'm hoping to kind of revisit some of that. The interesting thing is that ghost stories aren't as big of a deal here. They do exist, but they're a little bit harder to find. So now I am channeling my energy into helping out my best friend Carla with her podcast. We have teamed up to create the Dramedy podcast with Team Awesome. And what it is she, a few years ago, went through a horrible health scare. She was partially paralyzed. She moved in with me. We had a really hard time getting her diagnosis, which ended up being Guillain-Barré syndrome. So we decided to start sharing her story. So you can actually find that on her YouTube channel at Badass Problem Solver. And it's also on some of the streaming podcast platforms. It's been a lot of fun to talk about so far. And it's bringing up a lot of things we had forgotten about. And it's mixed with drama, with how we handled it with laughs, hence the name, the Dramedy Podcast.
Yeah, and I'm actually doing a series of conversations as part of my Call Me Beast series on YouTube with my favorite cousin, Kelly. We're talking about her very interesting life and some of the challenges she's faced. So you can find those also on our YouTube. So that's some more about us. There's lots more about us that you don't know that we don't need to go into today, but a little snippet of sort of how we live our life, how we spend our time. We hope you're enjoying these videos. Please reach out to us and let us know what you'd like us to talk about.
Yeah, we're really enjoying sharing our experience as we bump through life to try to figure out how to settle here in Portugal. And I think we both feel pretty comfortable. And we see a cool path ahead of us as we continue to reach out to our friends, reach out to you, and just kind of explore what life has to offer here.
Yeah, so thanks for watching. I can't.
today now? I don't know when it is.
Also new this week, visiting the Palacio Frontera and fitting into society in Portugal with kindness and respect. We hope you'll watch these videos and check out all the content on our YouTube channel to see what interests you. Thank you for watching.